Thank you. It's good to be back. A couple of years ago at Berkeley OLLI, I taught a course called Civil War Profiles. I've also taught a course here called Dixie Voices, which was on the antebellum South. The Civil War era is my own personal favorite time period in history, and I think it is for many Americans because I think, for good reasons, a lot of us feel that we're still working out the details of that period. We haven't solved the two fundamental core issues that the Civil War raised, and that's, of course, racial equality in America and the relationship in power between the state governments and the federal government. So in this course, I hope to shed some light on the genesis of these two conundrums in American history by looking at the man who was at the eye of the hurricane. Abraham Lincoln steered the country through our most perilous period, and we'll be spending 6 weeks dissecting the personality of this remarkably complex individual. Week 1, the full title of the course is From Buffoon to Philosopher King, and then it goes on to Many Faces of Abraham Lincoln. Because, strangely enough, many Americans, perhaps most Americans, during Lincoln's day, thought of him as a buffoon, an idiot, a country bumpkin at best, someone who is in over his head, tremendously ill-prepared to take on the task of this horrific civil war he was embroiled in. So we're going to look at contemporary views in week 1 of Abraham Lincoln, and they're not very flattering in most cases. Week 2 is called the Progressive and Liberal Lincoln. We're going to see what an irony it is that the Republican Party, which is constantly referred to as the Party of Lincoln, was founded by a liberal. At least that's my contention, is that his fundamental political instincts were what we would call today progressive or liberal in his outlook. Week 3, we're going to look at Lincoln on race, and we're going to see that while Lincoln's views on race were not what we would probably hope they would be, for a mid-19th century American, he showed a great deal of flexibility on the subject of racial relations between blacks and whites. Week 4, we're going to look at how Lincoln was viewed as a dictator by so many Americans during the Civil War era, not just Southerners, that would be obvious that they would hate him, but why so many Northerners saw him as a dictator as well. And we'll try to argue whether or not that position is justifiable, if it makes sense, or if it really is kind of a fatuous political attack. Week 5, we're going to be looking at Lincoln's melancholy, what we would call today clinical depression. Here's a man that was able to do amazing feats of political acumen and yet suffered horribly from depression. And we'll see how he did that. Week 6 is called Lincoln's Religion, and we're going to look at the very complex, thorny issue of how Lincoln's religious thinking evolved from being an atheist in his youth to a strange sort of believer at the end of his life. Certainly not a conventional religious thinker, but someone with profound spiritual insights. I hope that many of you will choose to join me. It's going to be on Tuesdays here. I think we'll have a good time. Thank you.
Thank you.